Hi, I'm Alyssa Arnold, and today I'd like to do my persuasive speech on school uniforms being mandatory in public schools. Have you ever noticed how children are going to school today with revealing clothing and inappropriate wording on t-shirts? Well, if every public school had a uniform policy, we would not have such problems. I also believe that having a uniform policy in public schools would cut down on bullying. It would be cost-effective for parents, as well as it would eventually increase grades. Schools should be a place where you're based on how you learn, not how you look. Right now I'd like to show you a slide from educationbug.com, and it tells you the list of cities that have gone to public school policies and the percentage of schools in those that have gone to a uniform policy. And I'd like to say that at the top of the list we have New Orleans, Louisiana with 95%, all the way down to Cincinnati, Ohio with 50%. Again, these are cities with the highest percent of public schools that have a uniform policy. And again, this was from educationbug.org. I'd like to speak now about several problems that would be alleviated by having a uniform policy in public schools. The first one is discipline and safety. By having a uniform policy, it would cut down on violence in schools by people not being able to conceal guns or knives in baggy clothing such as baggy pants and baggy hoodies. It would also cut down on violence due to wearing gang colors and gang affiliations, as well as anyone that is not wearing a uniform would easily be spotted by school personnel. Of course, opponents of the uniform policy would state that you're never going to stop school violence. However, I would like to give you some statistics from Long Beach, California School District. They were the first urban school to go to a uniform policy back in 1994. The statistics I'm going to tell you about are from the Long Beach School District, as well as Psychology Today, who did the case study. These figures are from 1995 to 1998, and I'd like to show you the slide. Okay. What this slide shows is the statistics in crime that was reduced. If you're looking at my slide, you'll see that the overall crime is reduced by 91%. School suspensions was reduced by 90%. Sexual offenses was reduced by 96%. And incidents of vandalism was reduced at 69%. I believe that is a very good case for the opponents who say that violence would not be reduced in schools by going to a uniform policy. The next thing I'd like to speak to you about is appearance. Students would all be seen as equals, since there would be no classification for someone who is poor or someone who is rich. They wouldn't be bullied for what they do not have. If they're not wearing the $150 sneakers, they would not be bullied for that. Also, it would increase school spirit because people would feel like they're part of the group, as well as it would cut down on cliques and would also cut down on the fashion shows in school. It would also help the students who do not have as much money as others, where they're going home and asking their mothers and fathers, why can't they have the $150 pair of sneakers? So uniform policy would definitely help in this area. However, there are opponents of the uniform policy who would say that this takes away a student's freedom of speech and expression and creativity. However, if you think about it, there are other ways to show your creativity and express yourself, such as in hairstyles and different nail styles. You can do different colors, but anyway, it would let you see a person's personality over what they are wearing. The next thing I'd like to speak to you about is the cost, and any parent who has a child in school is definitely interested in this. This is a slide, and this is from the U.S. Department of Education. And what this shows is that a child that goes to a school without a uniform policy, the average child is $729.50 per year on clothing. As where a child who goes to a school with a uniform policy is only $249 per year. So that is approximately a savings of $480.50 per year per child if they would have a uniform policy. And again, this comes from the U.S. Department of Education. The next thing I'd like to speak to you about is the focus on academics. As I stated earlier, more and more people are going to school in revealing clothing and clothing with inappropriate wording. If we had a uniform policy in every school, this would cut down on the distractions that are caused by these types of clothing. People would pay more attention to their teachers in school and not to the girl sitting next to them with the revealing top. Also, it would increase self-esteem because people would be accepted for who they are and not by their clothing. And as I stated before, it would also decrease in cliques because people would not feel left out. In conclusion, you can see that there are many advantages to public school uniforms, and I believe the arguments for the uniforms far outweigh those against uniforms. Making school uniforms mandatory would also help students in the future when they go to look for jobs. More and more jobs now, people do have to wear a uniform, such as policemen, firemen, and airline pilots. Thank you.